they've always had is lower in gold per minute, lower in KDA. They don't seem to fare as well. Maybe more reluctant in their plays. We'll see how it happens in this second game of our series.
Yeah, this is their 7th series they've played so far this split. Their previous 6 series, they won game 1.
Yep.
In 2 of those 6 series, they had lost game 2. So that's to speak to a little bit of their fall off. But that's usually, I like to call it, because it's really hard to adjust after a win. It's really hard work to stay at a high level because you're trying to look for these minuscule mistakes and predict the other team's adaptation.
Right.
When you lose, it is easier to bounce back, in a sense. Like, that's why some of these series can go back and forth. We'll see if they make any big mix-ups in the bans.
I want to see the hack room come out.
Yeah.
Spice of life in our game here.
Yeah, interestingly enough, game 1 on the other stream between Cloud9, there was also a Cassiopeia play. So I know like Keen was the Cassiopeia guy who brought it in, but it seems like there's been a bunch of success from that champion in scrims this week. A lot of people are picking up Cassiopeia, and a much higher priority on Shen as well with the ban.
You saw how Froggen kind of took by surprise once Svenskeren, another time Hauntzer as well. KFO came in those fights, but the damage that was dealt there really changed their mind about taking that fight. So we see some players maybe not actually have as much solo queue time against that champion right now, and they're taking fights they usually wouldn't if they knew. Bans are filing out here, the final ones of Rise, and we're looking for Team Solomid here. Maybe the hack room doesn't get banned out once more. It's going to be the Anivia. So again, Azir, Irelia, all these in the jungle champions besides Kindred left up.
Yeah, Rek'Sai still available. That was TSM's first pick when they had very similar bans to this one. But there is still a lot that Echo Fox could potentially go for. I wonder what they would put the most priority on, right? It could be a Karma. The Karma was really pivotal in their map rotations later in the game. Pretty strong laner. It'd be all about whether or not Big is okay playing against it.
He scared me a few times. Putting himself in the front, you saw him get dropped by like 2 attacks of Hauntzer and 1 pop-up of Svenskeren. But in the end, that role of speed and utility came into play huge for Big, if you will, and the rest of the team. 20 seconds on their first pick here. Will it be the jungler? Do we deny that? Svenskeren's still going to be able to play something strong is basically the talk. So it's actually going to be the Karma.
Not too big of a surprise. Big's going to be happy he's got what most people consider the best support on the market right now.
Yep. Makes it that much easier calling shots when you're on a very, very comfortable champion. And he is always very vocal from that support position. The hovers here from Team Solomid, a bit of a throwback, but what will they pick now as we are in the present? Did you know it? In the present. Svenskeren takes the Rek'Sai, as we were thinking. Hauntzer back on that Irelia.
We're on track to have pretty similar team compositions to what we had last game.
How do they keep that win going? They pick the same champion.
Yeah. The interesting thing here is that the Shen band, it's harder to put Irelia into a bad matchup. So I'm very curious what KFO decides to go against the Irelia with, and it's why TSM would have locked it in so hastily as well.
Yeah, it's true. They actually they banned the Trundle, which we have seen go up quite well in the early levels there in that matchup. 2
of the best matchups against Irelia have already been banned away. So it puts a really high priority on the champion as well, because they've kind of pinched that top lane champion pool. Puzzled look from Keith. Do they want to take the Lucian away from DoubleLift? He's going to pick it eventually, you know it.
Olaf. Oh, Sivir. So even more speed coming into this one, and wave clear as well to go with those picks.
Got to go really fast.
Super, super fast.
This is Need for Speed, move speed comp. Just throw Orianna in the mid lane or support Lulu and just zoom. No, they have enough speed. They're very, very fast. For TSM, now would be critical to try and make sure they have some counter initiation and some stuff that can fight back against that speed. They've already played these champions. Azir is great into it. Anivia's band would be good into it. A support Zyra is actually exceptional, but it's bad against Olaf. Like, it's exceptional against move speed, but bad against Olaf, so I'd be less likely to think they do that. Instead, they're just going to throw a tidal wave at it, which also works. I think, if they decide to lock that in. It makes sense. It's a pretty good matchup against Karma.
He's Biofrost in one of his mains as well. Is it Lucian Nami? Who would have guessed? Oh!
They're going to hold on that support pick.
They do. You have to counter support. Quite strong. Quite strong.
Yeah, I guess they want to make sure Froggen can't get the Azir.
Yeah, that's probably right.
Although I actually don't think Azir works that great at run-at-them compositions. His bird legs can only go so fast. He can only dash so far.
Little hops.
Yeah.
Saw Jinx from Wild Turtle just the other day. Will it be what they pick? We've also seen Tristana come out in recent games as well, as they played a little bit of that turret destruction game on Friday.
Here they're most likely to have to lock in both their solo lanes, though. So they have to make a lot of decisions here.
No, get another 80 carry.
Yeah.
Go hard.
Sivir mid. We'll see. They could if they really wanted to. Lucian top can't do that. It's already taken by TSM. What would they do? They need to match up against Irelia and Azir.
That Victor. Does the Cassiopeia come back out, and he actually goes for the Jax. I like it. Get KFO on something aggressive. We'll see this fight between him and Hauntzer as they match up in the lanes as they start solo pushing later in the game.
Yeah, and they've tried the Jax a few times unsuccessfully. KFO's been able to get good starts in games, but he hasn't been able to transition it because the team hasn't had the greatest teamwork. I like the Cassiopeia again. That was a matchup that worked out pretty well for Froggen against the rest of TSM. And TSM hasn't really added any answers to the Cassio. They have no great ways of initiating. They're still going to struggle to move through the miasma. So clearly TSM is saying that Froggen and his Cassio were not a problem. Otherwise, they would have tweaked their ban phase a little bit or picked it away. Now they'll do the Nami. So sneaky, TSM.
Tricky.
So exactly the same team composition for TSM that lost game 1. The only thing that they changed was the Shen ban.
Yep. And sides.
And sides.
And sides.
That red side Lucian, though, he'll get Yeah.
Oh, it's so strong. That's Imba. Let's bring it back. So, we see the compositions now for Team Solomid as they go back with a tried and true of game number 1, something they have not lost yet. This is the first time they'll have to win 2 games in the back half of a series, so they know with this victory, they're going to have to do it again.
Yeah, just play the same team composition 3 times in a row if they want to go for the win. Yeah, it's
I'll
always...
never see it coming.
It's always bold to go with exactly the same team composition, especially when the other team gets to make adjustments.
Yeah?
Echo Fox obviously got to opt into the matchups they were happy with, opt out of the matchups they weren't as happy with. Interestingly enough, at least TSM changed their bans, so it's not exactly the same look they're giving, and I think there's a less optimal matchup for Echo Fox in the top lane. I think it takes a lot of confidence for a team. Sometimes you can call it foolishness from a team. In this case, obviously it's the results that are going to tell us whether it was confident and good or overconfident and bad.
All right, we will see. The same comp for TSM, and Echo Fox going to switch it up a bit. Before we get into game number 2, remember to vote on Twitter for the team you support in this series. Use hashtag TSMWin or hashtag FOXWin to contribute to the conversation. As we get into game, we'll see how this one pans out. TSM had a very early lead in a swap that they initiated on the game, and then they weren't able to really work it. We're going to actually get a quick pause as we come into this one, so we have more time to talk, and you get to listen.
Yeah, maybe it's a peripheral issue. We'll see at the very start of the game whether they can get that sorted. Speaking of the team compositions, just a little bit more, though, like TSM with exactly the same thing, but quite honestly, probably more favorable lane matchups to add on to the pressure they already had in game 1. Which I think is why they're so confident in doing this. Because if we think about what happened in game 1, they did have basically 3 pushing lanes. Lucian Nami against the Jhin Karma was pushing. Sivir is a weaker laner against Lucian than even Jhin would be. So they could potentially push that in, even though the Sivir is going to have some pretty good wave clear. And then in the top lane matchup, when you consider the Irelia versus the Shen, which was in game 1, versus this game, which is going to be the Irelia versus the Jax, it will be a very snowbally matchup, but conditional on the jungle pressure of Svenskeren, they could potentially steamroll this game. They were close to steamrolling game 1, fell short, and that's why I think they're so confident keeping this high-pressure team comp going for game 2.
Well, if they do the lane swap, we'll keep an eye on Svenskeren once again. He was the one to really spark things off, finding hard with the rest of the team in that upper brush in game 1. Echo Fox was a little more timid on kind of getting themselves into deep wards. They were just taking the lane swap as it was, and were forced to just take the turret down as they saw it was happening blindly. Here it looks like a line of scrimmage this game, actually. So no super deep wards just yet. Maybe 3 will roam in together once they group up.
30 seconds.
Yeah, so any swapping would have to be done blind as of now. We haven't seen many deep wards from anyone, as you said. Be interesting to see if we get support harassed to try and stop a camp start, or if we just allow them to camp start. A lot of mind games going on here. It looks like both teams are blind swapping top. which would favor TSM. TSM's the ones that want the straight up 2v2 matchups. And at this point, because there's no deep wards, it is all guesswork. So far this would play out well for TSM.
See the first 2 levels here. DoubleLift will be instantly going in onto Keith, knowing he has sustain from Biofrost and the way they've synergized in that lane. I believe you are right. Keith and Big going to have quite a hard time for themselves here. And the swap is just going to leave everybody in the Australian lanes, as Pastry would say.
Yeah, and you can even see the top laners, like, they're half expecting to run in to a swap. Now Hauntzer's running down to maybe even get those first few minions. We will find out very soon that he is 1v1ing against the Jax. You can see he's even cautious because no one is actually shown yet, but there will be KFO.
They're going to get them all.
Now they know.
They don't miss one.
Standard lanes. Australian standard lanes. Everything's upside down. Thank you, Pastry.
So level 2 actually for both sides as they started on their top side jungle camps as well. Even though they don't get as much, you can still get yourself that advantage. Level 1 for Biofrost, as you can see, Keith and DoubleLift are the ones to take the XP per usual.
Right.
Kind of the supports fight it out auto attack wise. Also
Yeah.
here in mid lane, Froggen taking some damage.
Yeah, I say that TSM want this 2v2, but that's only once they can get the sustain going. Karma's level 1 is really, really strong. So they actually take a little bit of a beating early on. They need to be able to dodge some of those Qs. That's why Big was going so hard with his mana pool, just trying to get as much of an advantage early as possible. But as they hit level 3 and 4 is when TSM will start coming back into it. Or if they just get a super really gank from Svenskeren. He's tracking.
Well, they know they've been fighting, right? They have the idea that they have not left this lane. There's no wards around. Also, mid lane, that's going to be the call. A little baby shift by Bjergsen. He gets himself out. Save. Nice spell shield. No choice on Keith, though. He just goes away.
That's a lot of damage.
Big actually could go down. The exhaust hits. They don't have anything to follow. DoubleLift very low. Keith may actually chase too far himself, getting tempted into that kill. Forces a flash. No summoners for Echo Fox, and a flash for Biofrost.
Yeah, 4 burned on Echo Fox's side, 3 burned on TSM's side, and really close to a couple of kills on both Keith and Big. Some nice clutch knockups by Svenskeren and good CC chaining from Biofrost Bubbles. No immediate kill. The advantage will really be if TSM can crash that wave into the turret in time so that the Karma and Sivir can't make it back. That's one good thing about Karma, though. Even at low levels, she can speed you back to the lane very quickly. Mantra'd that first shield to give him a little bit of move speed, and I think they're actually going to get a decent number of those minions. TSM was unable to push it incredibly fast. There's another move speed for Keith. They can catch decent chunk. He lost about half a wave. That's not bad.
Make sure he times this right. The method to the madness is easily calculated now with small auto attacks from Big. So really a solo queue gank. 3 minutes, 20 seconds in when you expect it. No vision top. It looks like the aggro of the dual lanes kind of brought their mentality to the wayside and they tunneled in almost to the benefit of TSM. And now with the summoners down, they may just be able to rinse and repeat something up there quite soon.
Yeah, Hauntzer being pretty greedy with his potions there. Just drank another one. KFO already out of corruption charges. Hauntzer has 1 left. So if we're thinking about total available health, Hauntzer would actually be winning that lane, but he was in kill range for a gank. That's why he's drinking those potions. So pretty close lanes across the board, aside from Froggen, who's got that 10 CS lead on Bjergsen, in part because of Hard's gank.
Whoa. Level 5 to 4. Equilibrium Strike is theirs. His health is smartly a little bit lower. It was his choice, and Hard says thank you.
Yeah,
thank you very much
for the pull on the Scuttle Crab. I will take that. So actually better start for Echo Fox than they had in game 1. And a lot of that has to do with Hard not losing his mind early on in the game, giving up double buffs. He's been pretty solid so far. Really narrow margins in the top lane. It did not allow TSM to pick up first blood. Do have a level advantage, though. Keith is being smart, though. He knows this wave's going to come back, and he'll be able to clear with it.
There's actually a lot of caster minions just piled up there. Gonna crush down these outer casters for Fox, and they'll easily have a wave to farm up. Looks like we're going to have Hard going towards the top side. We haven't seen too much pressure from him just yet, as Svenskeren tries to get his hands dirty very, very early in this game.
He's actually missed a lot of that CS with Ricochet. The cannon minion wave arriving at a good time for TSM to kind of stall that big wave of casters. Because you can see there's only 2 extra minions on DoubleLift's side, and he's got a 14 CS advantage, so...
it's a really dangerous place to have it as well. No ward on the side. It's exactly where Svenskeren was able to pop over the elbow of the wall. So it's almost like we have to wait one more wave. And like you said, Rek'Sai not making it easy. And as soon as he wants the siege, that cannon minion, they actually going very, very hard on him as well. And he ends up missing it.
Yeah, so the very aggressive bubble there from Biofrost just to try and starve Echo Fox as much CS as possible. This is actually the least talked about thing about CSing in pro play is CS denial by the opponent team, because obviously Keith is capable of getting near perfect CS if he's not being harassed. But the harassment from Biofrost and DoubleLift is what costs people CS in pro play. It's not the actual last hitting. It's being able to weave last hits around the opponent harassment. So it's both a skill to CS as well as a skill to deny CS, which is why we use CS differential as our main CSing stat rather than just raw CS at 10.
Especially with that synergy. Not just DoubleLift going hard on Keith. He's got to dodge bubbles and he's got to dodge attacks as well. Keith can't do too much even with the shield of Big there. You have to respect it. Froggen returning to mid lane. Looks like he gets some miasma right on the entire thing. Go ahead and clear that out. Not too much damage on that from being a low level, but it will set him up to take these. Little invade here coming from Bjergsen. What is their route? Could be for KFO.
Yeah, the turret's still up, but depending on how well Hauntzer can harass him, KFO still has his ultimate, so he can boost up his resistances, but oh, can't flash out.
Oh, he tried so much at once to get himself away from the majority of the members of TSM, but gets popped up by Svenskeren. Top lane as well, gonna go back and forth as they duke it out. And it looks like another summoner blown, but most of those are coming back up for an even scarier fight that Froggen's gonna be approaching.
Trying to match, but there was a pink ward there. He didn't even end up walking into vision range.
I was like, where'd he go?
He was like, yeah, this is probably not going to work. It's a little bit too late to match. To speak about that gank attempt a little bit more, just good timing by TSM and a little bit of failed execution by KFO. Svenskeren unburrowed at just the right time as KFO was leap striking towards him, and then it looked like KFO actually flashed short a little bit. It allowed the rest of TSM to easily collapse in. Hauntzer the only one that had to burn flash.
Hard, a lot more active this game, not for his lanes, but for the jungle. We see him stealing the red there.
Yeah.
See this gank one.
So KFO's attempted escape was to hop onto Svenskeren and then flash away. But yeah, Svenskeren actually unburrows post-flash. I feel like KFO flashed early. He flashed before his leap strike completed, so he didn't get all the distance out of his leap strike.
Right.
And
kind of shorted himself.
Yeah, he can also jump to allies, so I don't know why he jumped to KFO. He could have just jumped to a minion.
Oh, they don't know Hearts there. They are going to throw out the tidal wave, though. It separates the fight enough for DoubleLift to throw out the calling.
Oh,
and around the back is Svenskeren. The flash tunnel play from under the wall in the tri-brush. And they're able to pick up hard and big.
Holy counter gank. That was just a
I thought he was too far away, honestly. He was partially in the river when that started.
Yeah.
And he flew right in.
I mean, first off, that gank was easily stuffed by TSM 2 versus 3.
That's true itself.
The Sivir Karma Olaf gank is pretty underwhelming, to be completely honest. Unless the team is way overextended. There's no hard CC there, and they didn't have enough move speed at the time to boost it up. And then as the gank failed, Svenskeren just tunneled right under the turret, got the immediate knock-up, and that just chained with everything for TSM. So really just a beautiful display there from DoubleLift, Biofrost, and Svenskeren.
Another strong early game from TSM, but things are definitely going to go slower this time. It's not a lane swap. Turret gold isn't being distributed right away. Everybody's pretty much fighting for their own gold in these solo lanes. And right now, KFO is having a bit of trouble with that. The CS is even, but he's getting pushed out. We'll see this again.
Yeah, so Keith doesn't even pop ultimate to help that, and the tidal wave cuts through pretty much everyone, so it's easily a failed gank, and guess who's here?
Boom.
They chained the CC with bubbles onto Big. Keith able to flash away in between the CC chain, but just a pretty slick and easy double kill for DoubleLift and Biofrost. And now a quick swap down bottom, actually, to get turret pressure and probably move this into a Drake.
Just talked about not having that turret gold. Well, there it is. Grabbing it up as soon as they can in the outer limits of the side of Echo Fox. Froggen as well being pushed out of his lane. So that means Bjergsen's going to be able to clean up a wave or two here and have a slight lead for himself. Fox left in the top side, or should say Keith by himself, but you gotta respect the fact that TSM has not given up on this bottom tier turret, already prepping some damage on it. Could mean big things later if they're able to get a 4-person fight and keep rolling through.
Really interesting strategy right here as Big has come down because Hauntzer can match with teleport, so that's why TSM is being so aggressive right now. They know they can force a 5v4. if they get the right move. So they're just taking this time to move in, get all the wards, and then instead of going straight for Mountain Drake, they're just going immediately for turret pressure. Sivir's arrived though, so now they will transition down to the Drake. And it looks like EchoFox has to give this one up entirely. Mainly because Froggen is actually...
Yeah, they're already starting Froggen into the side wave.
It's like, ooh, CS, top lane, let's go. But this is a forced play by TSM. They make it so EchoFox has to give up something. Instead of giving up the top lane wave with a chance to contest the Dragon, they take the guaranteed top lane CS and give up the Dragon.
Hopefully they are setting up what they want as a possible dive here to the top lane. The invade and wards have been placed. They stole Raptors, trying to get little things here. They know there's not much to grab as TSM has the lead, but they're not giving up the small advantages that are in front of them. DoubleLift and Biofrost still on this bot lane, and they are just already pulling EchoFox very thin across the map early in the game. 12 minutes in, second tier like it's being pushed 25 minutes in.
Exactly, so much pressure from these two, and they're not fearful of EchoFox's initiation ability right now.
They have the wards to stay safe.
At all, they have a ton of wards. They're pretty confident there's no deep wards for a teleport flank from KFO, and that's why they're just pushing up so far. They've already secured the Drake. They're just getting as much chip damage as possible and trying to extend that lead.
Why not if Bjergsen feels like he's controlling his lane as well? He's gonna be DoubleLift. We're gonna be a good guy.
Well, I think they're hoping someone goes for Svenskeren and then DoubleLift will try and dash over the wall for a bit of damage, since they're basically just waiting for Keith and Big to push this turret out and hoping they push up for the next wave. Since they've pretty much been missing for the last 20 or 30 seconds.
So bloodthirsty.
Yeah. This is what you call pressure on the map right now. Look at how EchoFox is just fearful of even going into their own jungle.
One hit on that ward and they were both like, all right, we'll go in at the same time.
Is it a trap?
I think it's a trap. Rightfully so. I think they feel like they angered the beast a little bit in that Game 1 series here, and they may be even giving a bit too much respect to TSM at this point. TSM knows that, and they're slowly inching their way closer until they can get EchoFox's foot caught in the trap. Back to KFO and Hauntzer in the top lane, 99 to 104, still close. Death to assist, so we can still see KFO go off. This is what I was talking about in his game versus Immortals. He was on Jax, he was on Irelia, both games down, and put up a fight against Huni in both games.
Oh, he gets the stun.
Yep. Has a bit of help from his team. Svenskeren always here for the counter gank this time. And again, he thwarts another one. Hard has to run out.
He's tracking that quite well. Hard burns Flash, Hauntzer. Hard burns Ghost, Hauntzer burns Flash. Now Biofrost is up here to assist in the push.
Oh, they're calling the cavalry as well.
Gotta be careful.
Big seems like he's a little skittish to actually go through that portion of the jungle. They don't have too much vision. He's gonna set up some wards for himself.
Well, they know Hard burned all his stuff there, and they... Ooh, they don't get the steal.
Are they gonna pursue this one? Double it for the flash over the wall. His Cullings bringing people down so low this series, but he can't seem to finalize the kill on each one, no matter how hard he tries. And that some credit due to Hard and the rest of the team getting themselves out of a sticky situation. Now
Froggen wants it.
TSM's been trying some crazy things around the map. Does it open EchoFox up for kills? No, it does not. But they almost find a way back in. Just a little bit of something was there.
Yeah, really close by Froggen. Good job waiting on Bjergsen as he was coming back from the realm. Can Hard get another steal? No. Finally, Svenskeren able to counter jungle. He's had a lot of stuff taken away from him at the last second by Hard this game, which kind of goes to show how far ahead Svenskeren could be if not for that. Nice push that EchoFox is trying to get mid lane while TSM is pushing bot, but Svenskeren's catching the minions.
I love this.
Oh, making them tank the turret. They want to try and finish it. They can't quite
What?
get it.
No!
Because the minions, yeah. Blow on it. Just one more. Get it.
Oh, man. Well, that'll happen in a few minutes. Unfortunately, it's not gold they have now. It's not being able to put forward wards in, and now they are pushed back, forced to defend here. This is rinse and repeat. They were just on the bottom side of the map. They said, hey, look, there's a top lane we can do this in too. Now Biofrost and DoubleLift are doing this split push thing with each other.
Keeping the pressure up as much as possible. DoubleLift out of mana, though. Gonna have to be pretty careful. Go back to base, maybe. But with all this map pressure, why not turn for Rift Herald? They're transitioning the lane pressure into objective pressure. This is clean game so far by TSM. Oh, Froggen's gonna get it. Bjergsen left his post. Maybe just wanted to bring up a Sun Disc. needs a target for it.
Yeah.
Oh!
Oh, man.
Technically, it denies the local gold, so it's not the end of the world, but that will extend TSM's turret lead.
Didn't even have to be there for that one. Prepped up, taken down. That's 3 turrets to 1 now. Everything in that bot lane. I guess it was the top lane as we started. Those 2 turrets taken down as DoubleLift and Biofrost swap back. So TSM's actually been avoiding everything with their bot lane and fighting everything with Svenskeren and Hauntzer. Feeling like Hard is going to keep going to KFO, and they've been right.
Yeah, they definitely have been. Hard, you know, picks that Olaf who wants to be the early mid-game snowballer, but just Svenskeren's been all over the map, tracking him. Hard hasn't been able to get off any successful ganks. Really, the place for the ganks would be Jackson Olaf into Hauntzer, but it just, like you said, hasn't been able to work.
Talk a little bit about that lack of crowd control. Hopefully, I mean, KFO is going to have to jump into about 3 people to make one of those work if they do get into a good fight. Or you're going to have a tether from Big, but it's scary for him to be up. The conditions of Echo Fox's fights quite scary here, unless it's the counter engage from Froggen. Right now, they're going to start back out with Svenskeren.
Yeah, all the
like,
minions were gone. Bail.
I'm here. I'm under your turret. Let's be friends. Oh, wait, I need to leave.
Yeah, Drake is up, though, in 5 seconds. Second mountain of the game. Teleports up for the top laners. Looks like Echo Fox is trying to get mid lane pressure instead. DoubleLift wants to catch the wave before they do this. Not an immediate take. Smart to catch the wave and get some more ward coverage. Echo Fox doesn't have much they can actually trade for this at the moment. So they either have to fight or threaten the second tier turret in the middle.
Or rush for the Nexus.
Yeah. That worked last game. Go for it.
Do it.
It's like, wait, we can't target it. What's going on?
Soon TM. We got a lot of work to do. 4,000 gold down here, just over 15 minutes. It looks like TSM has much more control over this game and much more control over their confidence as well. Pressuring those advantages solidly around the map, and now they're going to go for the bottom side.
It's really interesting.
Objectives are gone.
They're trading map control in their red buff side for Echo Fox's side, and they're actually going to be going for the inhibitor turret. Like, Echo Fox very slow on this rotation. I think they expect them to get Mountain Drake, but TSM already won Mountain Drake, so they do enhanced damage to this turret. And they get it close.
There's a bit of the wave clear we were talking about, but like you said, there's enough damage already on the front end of TSM to drop these turrets. Bjergsen's going to go ahead and auto-attack his life away to drop this one, as he can't drop his soldiers on it.
It's a little risky because they're giving KFO free time in the top lane to get a lot of farm, but boy, do they seem to make a lot of progress there. Second Mountain Drake will continue that as well.
This is what TSM was actually hoping to have when they went for the sneaky Baron last game. This time, that's definitely an option. Double Mountain over to Team Solomid. It'll be very nice for them as they continue on having the lead in this game. Extending that just a little bit more. I mean, the next turret is that top one. They'll find themselves grabbing. Baron will be up in about 30 seconds.
The next one will be Mountain 2. So the objectives will fall very, very quickly. Especially with Azir. Like, I can imagine at 20 minutes, Azir plus anyone can 2-man Baron when you have double Mountain Drake, which is 20% pre-mitigation true damage. But remember, TSM traded map control for that. And Echo Fox is now in the red buff side where they had the map control and hoping to set up a play. No one is walking through the spot of the jungle where they have no control.
How long do you wait?
We say that yet. Oh, that's one. But they go all in for spin and they don't even get him.
Bit of a slow.
Now they have to worry about the wave. Oh,
yeah, they're not in place for this at all. KFO is also pushing that top lane. I'd say bottom now. But they have teleports to get back. KFO is going to drop one. They lose another second tier. They're losing much greater turrets for getting outer turrets here. Echo Fox is not making good decisions.
Yes, and watch how fast this turret goes down now. DoubleLift shooting it just a couple of times, taking it near half health.
Quick clears by Keith. That's kind of a saving grace that Echo Fox will have as they have the wave clear team that they can wait things out with. But how long will they be able to do that at their front doorstep? Svenskeren almost denies it. Hard's going to take that one away. Actually, Ragnarok forward as well.
Burning Ragnarok might entice TSM to try and rush the Baron. They know they have double Mountain Drake. They know that they lost last game off of an early Baron call, but they didn't have double Mountain Drake then. Like, this actually changes the equation a fair bit. They can burst it down very quickly, and they have some pretty good prep wards for it. Don't be surprised to see TSM go for a Baron really early in this game.
I mean, I think Echo Fox needs to be afraid of what we saw last time is the exact case, is Svenskeren and Bjergsen disappear for a little bit. Those two, even more so now, would be able to take down that Baron without trouble. Oh. That's an ultimate up. He's going to have to play this one incredibly mechanically.
They have Irelia.
Well, oh, no.
Oh, what a play by DoubleLift with that dash back. Read Froggen like a book. That's a kill onto Froggen with the teleport coming in from Hauntzer. Oh, beautiful. And now they either go for an inhibitor or they go for Baron. What are they going to choose? Where are we going? It's somewhere.
Mid lane fight's going down. They want to show us everything. We're going to get an eye on the prize here, which is now the top lane inhibitor turret. Echo Fox is trying to come in from the top side outside their base, but they're really just being funneled in.
Here they go.
Svenskeren, Oz, KFO goes in. They're actually pushing out. They don't want to go too far in here. They are giving the AoE of Echo Fox a little bit of respect here, and they want to make sure they have a minion wait for it.
Wow. 22-minute inhibitor without Baron even. Also burn another ultimate out of Heart, so you can see Echo Fox is just getting pulled in so many different directions. That was symbolic of the camera movement downstairs. Like, where should Echo Fox go? No one really knows. Because TSM is applying pressure in so many different places.
Like, look at this strategy Echo Fox used last game. Let's run them around this time.
Yep.
Oh.
They're gonna kill on a Heart.
Maybe if you had Ragnarok, but it's not up because you got that blue.
Didn't have it right there, and now TSM can turn for Baron. Will this work is the real question. Double Mountain Drake with an Azir. Let's watch this thing melt. Slower than I was building it up to be. But this is 23 minutes in. Thanks, Gat. Baron should be really hard to take 23 minutes in. That was pretty easy.
All right, there you go. You got me on that.
That felt like a 40-minute Baron.
I'm sold again.
Really? Okay. When they get a third one, it'll be even faster, I promise.
That's true. They do have another Mountain Drake to possibly take. Echo Fox trying their damnedest to set up these small bushwhack traps. They tried so hard in the red side of TSM, but they actually never even really entered their own jungle.
Yeah.
Svenskeren said, guys, they're all here, and look what happened there. An inhibitor turret falls. So it's the choices Echo Fox are making they have very dangerous outcomes.
Exactly, and like you could say that was, oh, TSM got lucky that they didn't go in and check the jungle there, but like TSM knew where their gaps of vision were. The lane is generally a safer place than the jungle that had just been warded up by the enemy, and TSM traded that area of the map control earlier on. So Svenskeren was the sacrificial person to go and check, but he was very careful about it.
And at that point, you'd think it'd be DoubleLift, because who's going to get red buff at this point in the game? That guy.
That's what Echo Fox is banking on, right?
Exactly.
But TSM played with much more discipline.
Bjergsen off on the side, looking for a possible shuffle in as the rest of his team is kind of cordoned off by the miasma of Cassiopeia. Now to the mid turret once again. A very big culling, dropping a few members low on the side of Echo Fox as they're forced to watch that second tier fall down. They're going to send Hauntzer to the side lane here and start to spread Echo Fox more thin, even thinner, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, this has been such a good bounce back game from TSM so far. Like, this is the type of result you would more expect when an undefeated TSM comes into an Echo Fox 1-5 team who lost 10 games in a row, 5 matches in a row.
Running the same comp.
Yeah, and then TSM runs exactly the same comp. Just like, nope, we're just going to clean up our play.
Yep. Something teams could fall into. We didn't run the comp right. We didn't do this right. It seems they didn't. It wasn't just the comp. They're making it work this time. Baron minions helping them crush down the outer turrets here. They're going all the way around the horn. They want the inhibitor turrets first. It seems like they're very methodical about this. And now they start to kind of go around that mandatory turret takedown in mid. They want the inhibitor that's already open here in the bottom. I don't know what Echo Fox can do.
Oh, 4-man stun!
Flash forward. Cryptic Gaze takes out maybe 2. Svenskeren and the team are trying to fight this. Hauntzer and Svenskeren, however, have already turned tail to leave this one as Biofrost is swimming away immediately. And Froggen really takes TSM by surprise, and the team follows up.
Yeah, that's what you dream about when you play Cassiopeia. You're just like, I'm just going to flash into them and petrify all of them perfectly. And no one on TSM was actually able to turn sideways to avoid that flash ult by Froggen. I don't even think he ult flashed. I'll have to see it again to see how much time he gave TSM to react. But that's huge as well. It denies the triple Mountain Drake combo for TSM, as well as pushes them out of the base and saves the inhibitor. Wow, Froggen.
All right.
See. Watch Froggen. So you can buffer Yeah, he actually just flash ulted.
Yep.
Straight up. And he catches 4 people. You can buffer, start casting ult, and then flash in. Sometimes it gives, you know, less time for the opponent team to react, but he still gets the 4-man stun. And that just makes it easy for the rest of EchoFox to combo in.
Oh, such a powerful ultimate when used correctly. And even more so on the engage, like you said, very rarely ever seen, since it's almost that easy to dodge. TSM get taken by surprise, something that happened last game as well. EchoFox is in a much worse off position than what we saw in the first game of the series, so they can't exactly act on those kill advantages they just got. They still have to play very safe with their base kind of opened up on either side.
Right, they've still lost 8 turrets. Sad life for them. The rotations have been much stronger for TSM this game. Bjergsen's still very strong, but this time TSM doesn't have to worry about their base being completely exposed. They can still just wait around if they want to for the next Baron, or they can just chalk that up to Froggen making an amazing play, TSM not being ready for it, and just going to siege the next inhibitor, which might actually be the smarter course of action.
So yeah, we won't do that again. Make sure we just fight with our backs turned when we enter the base. Do that moonwalk in.
Walk backwards. Easy. This will be interesting, actually. KFO with Blade.
There's the ultimate.
So they both have Blade of the Ruin King. It's all about dodging Jax's moments of power. For Hauntzer.
Lamp post or blades.
Who wants it?
There's the dash away. The blade turns back in. Throws a dodge, gets the attack out, and he had the counter-strike on as well if you need to go any further in that one. But wow, love seeing these duels back and forth. Like I said, KFO can still come out big. That's Froggen going down the ult went off, but it wasn't really able to be acted on by the rest of the team. This is the inhibitor dropping. KFO again is going to stick to his gun and try to take out the turret, but they've actually lost Keats faster than they thought, and KFO may just have to back here to save the base.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, though, would he really be able to save it? They've lost their other 2 damage dealers, so I think his best option is to just continue the push, even though TSM cleans 2 inhibitors here.
Hey, he will do so. Jatt throws a ward over to get some extra vision, hopefully, and a ward that he can TP back to if he needs to help the team. It looks like he's going to back here, knowing his team is being pushed off and not getting any damage on that inhibitor turret. Interesting choice.
He doesn't go for it because he sees Hauntzer's going to be able to respawn, and he'll be coming out with home guards, but now Hauntzer can just teleport in, and they get the 3rd inhibitor, potentially.
Could be that big fight. I'm really hoping that ward comes into play on the side of TSM's base, but I think there's going to be too much janitorial duty necessary in EchoFox's for him to even get that teleport out there.
Yeah. Watching this one more time after Hauntzer had been soloed, they get the culling for a bunch of damage. Svenskeren just flashes over the top, and no one is actually close enough to catch Froggen. He took way too much damage before he was even in range for the ultimate. He'd also burned his flash to initiate the last fight, so that allowed Svenskeren to get some big damage. And then, I mean, that's just Azir for you against a Sivir. It's a really difficult matchup for the Sivir to space. He shouldn't have been up that far. When he got tagged by the Rylais, he was dead.
Wham bam, thank you, ma'am. Just out. 30 minutes coming up on the clock, 7-5. TSM much more control here as they come into game 2, as we said, with that same comp.
And getting 3 inhibitors usually signals the end of the game, especially with how far ahead TSM is. And it does speak to EchoFox and Jax and how it doesn't actually match up that well currently, because EchoFox doesn't have the team play totally set right there. Like you saw, yeah, KFO, he's a good Jax. That's why they want to pick it for him. He can get the solo kills. But when you get a solo kill and then your other 4v4 team loses 3 inhibitors, it's just not worth it. Like they'll need KFO on a team fighter like Shen or like Malphite, where we saw some big games last year. Obviously not Malphite in this current meta, but the whole split pushing thing just doesn't really seem to be EchoFox's cup of tea. And at least for the short term, I'd like to see them do more team fighting for that reason.
Well, looks like it's Baron time. KFO still on that side lane trying to get a push. The team's actually no potential to go for this Baron, so they stay backed off. Hopefully now with all 3 lanes crashing in, they'll be able to produce some results here. Summoners are up on both sides for both teams, so this is going to be a hell of a fight. Yep,
we got Flash back up on Froggen, but depending if TSM can slow play this properly and get all 3 waves approaching without being engaged upon, it's going to be overwhelming for EchoFox. Luckily, they do have a Sivir, who's great when there's about 500 minions in front of your base, because those ricochets just keep bouncing around everywhere and can kind of clear it. Even so, though, I don't think he has enough items to actually get those ricochet crits going. The only way EchoFox comes back here is if Froggen lands another beautiful ultimate. Otherwise, TSM's going to push in and end the game.
I don't think they're even going to group enough for that to happen. You see how spread they are in groups of 2s. 3 here on the side. KFO almost gets taken down. He's just going to try to get a home guard heal. TSM looking to take us to a game 3 here. shake off the first game of the series. That victory for Echo Fox is not something they want to remember. Echo Fox doing their damnedest to stop this Nexus turret from going down. And TSM saying, how does it feel? This is what you did to us last game. And a hell of a game it was. This is going to be a great series here if TSM close it out now. Echo Fox keeping themselves alive a little bit longer. There's the dive on the tidal wave. We're going for a swim on this one. DoubleLift goes down as Ragnarok gets him to the back line, and they're going to keep going for the fight. KFO gets hit out here as it looks like Bjergsen's able to finalize the kill, and they may not need DoubleLift to finalize the Nexus. They're going to have the last 4 members on it. They're going to have the damage necessary, and we're going to a game 3. TSM take game 2 over Echo Fox.
Yeah, and this was just discipline from TSM in this game because they definitely didn't win this game through team fighting. They didn't even necessarily win this through some great outplays. In fact, it was Froggen who made that one outplay beforehand. But TSM was just always in the right place at the right time. They played the map exceptionally well that game, totally outplayed Echo Fox, exploited their weaknesses of not being able to really have cohesive plans of making things happen, and TSM just continued to build that advantage. So big that even after Froggen picked up 4 kills in the base there, it didn't matter, and TSM was able to close it.
There was just so much to repair. That was the first rung of the ladder they were grabbing, and they had so much farther to climb. Svenskeren as well, tracking hard this game, so much more. Being there for every counter engage, being there for the 2 early top engages. We saw game number 1 of the top laners and the mid laners not getting too much love. Or the top laners getting love, sorry. And then this game, it was the bot lane getting love, which got none in the first game.
Yeah, spectacular counter ganks from Svenskeren the whole game. Like, securing Rek'Sai, obviously huge. TSM, this time, you know, I said it's going to be based on the results, all those hindsight 2020s. Is it smart to pick the same composition 2 games in a row?
Is it 3?
In most cases, no. It is not smart. But in this case, because they were able to get more favorable matchups with the same composition, that almost never happens, right?
Yeah.
Usually if you're doing the same composition twice in a row, it gives the other team a chance to adapt. This time, they kind of adapted their bans, and Echo Fox didn't pick very well around this exact same composition, which could be a flaw of a team losing their coach last week, obviously, or is parting ways. Like, they don't necessarily have the coaching infrastructure back in there yet, so they can't adjust to exactly the same team composition very well, and TSM just played much cleaner, like people expected them to do in game 1.
Well, we got a game 3 coming up now, so for a closer look at TSM.